Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thanks for joining me for another of our Torah studies together. As you can see, I'm in a different room than usual. There's something going on in the room next to the office that I usually do these recordings in, and it's too loud. And I wanted to make sure you could hear what I was saying. Also, sorry for not doing a video last week. I wasn't feeling well, so hopefully you can forgive me for that. And let's get back to it. So, we've got our magazine, the news, put it all off to the side. I only brought one kippah because I don't want to bring all my kippot to another room. But I brought my Star Wars kippah because, like I said, last week I wasn't feeling well. And so I stayed home and I watched some movies. And so I watched some Star Wars movies. So I'm going to wear that. And we got our Tanakh all ready to go. And let's do our prayer before we read. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commanding us to engage with words of Torah. So this week we are reading a portion called Bo. It is the portion that the Israelites either do leave or are about to leave. It's sort of a little unclear to me when I was reading it. But it's the 10th plague happens in Egypt, and the Hebrews are about to leave Egypt to go to Israel. Because, of course, after the 10th plague, Pharaoh lets them go. And this, what I'm going to read now, is Moses telling the people about Passover. And that every year they're going to have a celebration, they're going to have a feast commemorating the fact that God set them out and that God freed them from Egypt and led them out. So here we go. And Moses said to the people, "Remember this day on which you went free from Egypt, the house of bondage, how the Lord freed you from it with a mighty hand. No leavened bread shall be eaten. You go free on this day in the month of Abib. So when the Lord has brought you into the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which God swore to your ancestors to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, you shall observe this month in the following practice. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day there shall be a feast of the Lord. Throughout the 7 days unleavened bread shall be eaten. No leavened bread shall be found with you, and no leaven shall be found in all your territory. And you shall explain to your children on that day, as because of what the Lord did for me when I went free from Egypt. And this shall serve you as a sign on your hand and as a reminder on your forehead, in order that the teaching of the Lord may be in your mouth, that with a mighty hand the Lord freed you from Egypt. You shall keep this institution at its set time from year to year." So this is a lot of talk about the unleavened bread, the matzah that we have at Passover. Some people have it for all 7 days. Some people have it just at the Seders, whatever. But that is the association with it. And the story that we all know is that the Israelites leave Egypt in such a hurry that they aren't able to wait for their bread to rise. And so they end up with this unleavened bread. Leavened, I don't exactly know the term actually, but leavened is what makes bread soft and chewy, whereas matzah is more like a cracker. But I've always liked that idea, and it reminds me of something that I learned years ago, which is a phrase that I keep in my mind and that I find very useful sometimes, and I hope that you will find as useful as well, which is, it's time to go, and we are not ready. That sometimes you just have to take action. Sometimes you've got to go and do something, even though you are not 100% prepared. The Israelites are forced to, I guess forced is the right word. The Israelites are compelled to leave Egypt. They aren't ready. They still don't have their bread ready. That's only going to take a few hours, but still, they don't have time to wait. They have to leave. And there are many times in our lives when we have to act, when it's the right thing to do, even though we aren't ready. We're not fully prepared. We tried to prepare. We wanted to prepare. We made some preparations, but we weren't totally done. But it's time to go, and we're not ready, and we're going to go anyway. It reminds me of one of my favorite Martin Luther King quotes, or teachings, I guess I should say, because of course earlier this week was Martin Luther King Day, so that's been on my mind, which is when you encounter someone in need, he says that you should think not what's going to happen to me if I help. If I help this person, am I going to be late to where I'm going? Am I going to feel weird because this person's a stranger to me? Am I going to be tricked? Maybe this person doesn't actually need help at all and is just setting me up. But rather than thinking about what's going to happen to you if you do help, you should think what's going to happen to this other person if I don't help. Maybe you're the only person that hour who's going to stop by and talk to them and give them money and help them in whatever way that they need. And so rather than focusing on ourselves, we should be focusing on other people. And rather than focusing on being fully prepared 100%, we should focus on, well, we could be more prepared, or we could take some action. And in most cases, taking part of an action is better than taking no action at all, especially if it's an action that helps people or supports people, whether it frees them from slavery or whether it helps them find some food to eat for that particular day. So that is our lesson of the week. We've got Misha Berach now to listen to. Again, it's a prayer of healing. Whether you know someone who's actually sick from the coronavirus or you know someone who's sick from something else. I fortunately was only sick with something else. I'm still not entirely sure what. But I got a COVID test and I was negative, and I feel fine now. It was really only a day or two, so it wasn't that big of a thing. Maybe you know someone who's really got some pandemic fatigue. They're just kind of getting sick of staying at home. It's much colder now, and so it's harder to get outside, and so it's harder to get out and get sunlight, get some fresh air. Maybe you know people who are just missing people and would like to go out and see people face to face and hug them and give them a high five or a handshake, and they're unable to do that. So whatever the thing is, whatever the treatment is that they need, this is a good time to think of that person. If you want to say a prayer for them, if you just want to think about them, maybe you want to use this time to think how you can help them, even if you're not ready. So here we go.
Find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us sing Amen.
Okay. Thank you all again for joining me. If you have any questions about this week's Parsha or anything at all, feel free to email me at the Jewish Life email address. And other than that, I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week, and Shabbat Shalom.